Now, I mean, we don't necessarily go through a lot of mechanics in regards to this approach here, okay? And I guess, especially, I guess when you're instructing to a large group, it's just really having the intent and then creating the environment and let them just practice. And then as a coach, then you can provide feedback as you go, okay, which is a good time to do it. But I guess what we're sort of trying to achieve with this safer or simpler model, okay, in regards to developing hitters, it just lets kids just practice with the intent of hitting a line drive with good backspin. And then it frees us up as coaches to provide feedback on the go, as well as, I mean, if we were to provide a whole bunch of instruction at the start, I mean, so roughly we've got about 20 people here. Okay, so we've got roughly about 20 people here, and me talking for the whole 5 minutes, I may be catering to that one person who needs it, as opposed to everyone here doesn't need to hear it. They just want to start. They should really just start hitting. So let's just start hitting, and then I'll come to that one person throughout the course of that session. And as you said, we've only got them for one session a week, so you might as well capitalise as much as we can. I guess the excellent players, the elitist players, what's probably in any sport you can come across, yeah, they can adjust. Yeah, more so, what have they done previously to get there? What's the most common thing for an elite athlete to get to where they're at? Whether it's swimming, basketball, baseball, lawn bowls, time. Yes, time. It's just time. Okay, so that's probably one of the most common things. So we might as well, if we've got time, we might as well give time to help develop those hitters. So, am I hitting the mark a little bit there? And once again, I mean, because the nature of the beast with our sport, okay, for us to hit, for us to take batting practice, it takes a bit of setup, it takes a bit of room, okay, as opposed to throwing, which could be just a bucket of balls up against the fence. Okay.
Why is that? Well, one of the reasons that's really good is when we think about that retention of information, though, too. Again, if we spend a whole bunch of time talking about it at the start, again, they're going to retain very little of that information. They're going to retain a whole lot more of the time they spend hitting balls, learning about their own swing. So as much as possible, rather than explaining the swing in great detail, this philosophy allows us to just allow them to go out there, give them a very simple instruction. Let's make sure we load and then release. But our goal is to try and hit a line drive for centre field every time. Then you can get stuck straight in, straight away.
And I guess, and you as a coach can identify flaws within that player, and we can lead on to a discussion now about it. I guess trying to work out different ways, as opposed to us just giving the information straight away in regards to, you know, say for example, they are dropping the barrel of the bat or they are dropping their back shoulder, and you guys can see that as a coach, okay? But instead of just saying, hey, well, stay tall, make contact a little bit further in front, and just give the players the answer, if that is the answer, okay, give the players the answer. What could we possibly do, I guess, in regards to communication, in regards to providing feedback, what could we possibly do in that situation, or any situation in regards to hitting, as opposed to just giving an answer on some sort of mechanic? What could we possibly do?
Ask them a question.
You could ask them a question, but they necessarily might not know the answer, or they might know the answer but still can't put it into context, if that makes sense. So I guess what else could we possibly do? Think about, I guess I should have left the constraints theory up there a little bit.
I think if you've got access to camera with the phone with the camera on it, you can show it to them.
Yeah.
A lot of times they think they're doing the right thing, but they're not. You show it to them and they can make adjustments on their own.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, as opposed to, and all you've done is just provided an environment. So this is what you look like. Tell me what you think. You know. That's well, I guess one way. Yep.
Change the intent.
Yeah, change intent. Yeah, change the intent as well. So, I guess changing the area you're trying to achieve. Maybe move the tee around itself. So I guess you as coaches, you really challenge. Yes, this is a simpler, or this is a version to develop hitters, which makes it quite simple for us to instruct as a group. But to help the individual, it becomes far more challenging to work out activities and work out drills to help develop or help improve those mechanics. That sort of makes sense there. And so me personally, so I'll just put you guys in my shoes for a little bit. I always had a bit of an uppercut swing, right? So I've always had this uppercut swing. It just felt natural to me, and I didn't really see it until I actually saw it. I was like, oh damn. But I didn't know, when I got introduced to the tee work and the development of tee work, and the improvements that I can get from tee work, I wasn't told what I was really doing wrong. I just got told, I got put a ball out in front of me, and I got positioned a little bit further back, and I still got told to hit this ball with good line drive and backspin. So what happened then, I was put in a situation where I could no longer uppercut to hit that ball. I had to stay through the contact zone a little bit longer and flatten out my swing a little bit, but I wasn't told what I was doing. I was just put in a situation. And then through time, once I got my head around this approach and this coaching style, I was like, oh, that's what we're trying to achieve there. But I didn't know it. And I mean, now granted, I wasn't a teenager at that stage. I was just got out of my junior career. But I was still put in a situation where I wasn't told what to do. I was just put in an environment where I was just, the movements manipulated a better swing path for me. That sort of makes sense. They just put you in my experience through this sort of program here. Any questions so far with building the swing path or concerns?
What are some common things that you see come up? What are some common errors that guys make? And how could you then change that intent to help them make a correction? What are some of the...
Yeah, sweet. Well, we'll open up to you guys. What are some of the flaws? My tee doesn't really work for me too well. Oh, there we go.
A real big bend on the front head.
So collapse on the front.
Collapse the front head.
Yep. So still working with the tee. I guess what more so the mechanic is just collapsing on the front knee. But what sort of result is coming off the ball?
Swing under it, obviously.
They are. Sorry.
Like dipping, you know,
So they're coming down this way and swinging.
while that front knee just collapses big time.
So yeah, you're right. So yep. So go away from the mechanic side of things. More so think about, I guess, what happened with the ball at that stage.
They're usually hitting under it.
They're usually going to hit under it. So you're going to pop it up a little bit.
Yep.
I'd recommend just moving a little bit further back, because as soon as you start collapsing, all of a sudden you're going to start reaching a little bit further, and then you're going to pretty much lose balance anyway. Okay, so that could be a common way to improve the collapsing of the knee. So do you have another basic, simple?
Again, I haven't necessarily seen that one as much, but you know, you could even have them go back before they go forward. So a step back drill where they...
It's not on the QBBA, it's more as in junior kids, you know, they'll just, their front knee just
What about a
collapses.
shadow drill? Give them a swing, watching their shadow, sun behind them, see if they can see.
Nice. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's part of also developing or building your swing. Not only just the tee, also, and I was going to more so, you don't even necessarily need the tee. Yes, you're talking about shadow work. You're talking in front of a mirror, or you're just talking just general dry swings, just to get a feel for building that swing path. So yeah, so I mean, and that's a part of not only just tee work in regards to building the swing, also just dry swings helps build that swing path as well.
So with that, you still have to tell the kid that you might have to have a straight front leg.
Yeah, no, that's what, you
So give it a shadow drill, so
yeah.
okay, that looks good.
No, yeah. So it's not necessarily you're not tricking them by saying, "Oh, that looks good, just keep going." More so, I guess that shadow drill probably wouldn't help, or if it's not helping that player in regards to if they just still can't identify. Maybe that's not the right activity. So maybe challenge yourself as coaches a little bit more to try and get another drill that might help out.
The shadow drill with the head on the ground, so the head has to, because his front leg's collapsing, his head's going to move.
Yep. So all of a sudden your knee, yeah, there you go.
The shadow's going to move off his head.
Yep.
So what you've done there though, Tony, is you've given him an intent that's a bit more general. And again, when we're talking about a specific body part like that, again, when you talk about your head, it's a bit easier because everything kind of follows your head. So it's, if you're going to give a cue, giving a cue about your head is not too bad, because again, your whole body follows your head. So if you just say, keep your head really still, in your shadow drills, make sure that head stays really still, then by the fact that his head stays still, he might not necessarily collapse on that front side. So the intrinsic learning is still there. You've changed his intent, having the focus about his head, which is really just keeping him in a position to see the ball. It's quite a simple change. So again, there's degrees of the sort of explicit nature of what we're talking about. When you're talking about something simple like your head that your whole body will follow anyway, you give a cue like that, it's a really simple adjustment. Just keep your head still. Or if you're looking at a shadow drill, just keep watching in your shadow or in the mirror or whatever it is, and just make sure your head stays really still. That in itself changes the intent and might change the movement change that you originally wanted, without having him to draw attention to what's my leg doing while I'm swinging.
What about, and I've done this with kids before, this probably applies in the place of what we're saying here, but it's all out.
Yeah, throw it out there.
Because that's a big one. It's really hard to explain to a kid how to hit off that
dipping.
firm front side. I've had kids say, take that swing and hold your follow through, firm front side, and then just walk away and say, righto, just go back to your starting position and then get to that position again, just to get a feel.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah. But again, rather than...
It's a little bit sort of hands-on-ish at the start. Like
Yeah, but you could do that. So what you're saying is take the swing and then come back into your starting position straight away. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I say, we'll see that. It's a firm front side. And
Yeah, but you
we'll
could
talk
have
a
them
little
do
bit
that
about-
drill without even saying the firm front side. You could say, give them the intent of take your swing, finish in a balanced position, stop right there, and then go straight back to your start
and then
position
come straight
away.
to it again.
And then come straight through for the next ball. And you might find that
Drive
that's
swings or with the ball.
an intent about...
No, I'm not talking. Just sort of how they want to end up. You know, end up
But
with
with
that
the
firm front
ball,
side.
no
So
ball.
right, can you feel that? Okay, and
Well, you
go
could-
back to the start and then get there again.
It's not with the ball.
No,
It's drive
just
Yeah, you could do it with no ball or with a ball, it doesn't matter, but the intent that you've given him is to take your swing and hold that nice, firm, stable position,
And get back up there again.
and then go back to your loaded position and get ready to swing, and then swing another one, and then go back, and then swing again. And that's giving him an intent without specifically...
where you want to finish.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's changing his intent to give him the feel for a movement without him thinking about what he's necessarily doing with his front leg or
So,
his front leg.
as a coach, you guys know what you want to achieve in regards to that mechanics. But if you can avoid like a flaw with a certain body part, but if you can avoid making reference to that, that's what we're trying to achieve here. If you can avoid making reference to that body point, yeah, all of a sudden they're just thinking about that swing. And as I said, that strong, and just finish nice and balanced there with a strong core and a strong stable position, and then get back up there and do it again. You're not making any reference to any body parts. It's just take that swing, nice steady, and then go back again. Same with the tee work. Take your swing, hit the bottom half of the ball, hit a good line drive with backspin. And you know as a coach what you're trying to achieve, so you need to challenge yourself as coaches to try and avoid using body parts and try and come up with some sort of activity that doesn't point out, or you don't verbally say, hey, you're collapsing your front side, you're dropping your front side, you're dropping your back shoulder, you're rolling over at contact. All right.
What happens, Kenny, if you give him that intent and you give him that instruction for the drill and it doesn't work?
Well, you got to find another way.
You try something else, don't you? You give him something else. You give him something else to do. You do a step back and swing drill. See if that has an impact. You have him do a walkthrough and swing and see if the movement change achieved, or see if the movement is the way that you want to. Try a whole bunch of different things and see what works. And it might be some drills work for a certain movement change that work with some guys and not with others. But if whatever the intent you gave them has the effect of the movement change that you're looking for, then that's a good drill for that particular individual. And again, then all you're doing, even if you get it wrong and you have a couple of different cracks at it, then all you're doing is giving him movement experience. And you're encouraging him to try something different. If it's not working currently, try something different. Again, if you just say, just keep that knee still and just do this, and jump on him every time he doesn't do that, he's getting more and more scared to try different things and to try and just be aggressive and have fun and do it. He's feeling more and more restricted because every time you move in a tiny little way that's not exactly like you took, you jump on top of it. So what you're doing is actually encouraging movement change, encouraging experimenting and all that sort of stuff, and that's good. When they get it right, what do? Yeah, you positively reinforce that execution and say, that was it, that's exactly what I wanted. Can you repeat it? Can you remember what it felt like? And now do it again. That's the process that we're going through.
And that's really developing 101, is just building, as a coach, developing a repertoire of a whole bunch of a broad range of activities that try and tailor towards each individual player. I don't know if you recall, one of the things I mentioned last week is just challenging myself. Every time I go out onto the field as a coach, I try and challenge, especially dealing with younger kids, is try and challenge myself, try and come up with an activity that I haven't done before and see if it works for that athlete. I still revert back to a drill that would work for that specific athlete with what we're trying to work on, but if I'm still not hitting the mark with someone else, I might just alter it a little bit or change it a little bit. So I'm always challenging myself to see what will work. And if it does work, if it has checked the box with that player, what can I do as a coach?
Keep it in your repertoire.
Keep it in your repertoire. Remember it, right? Whatever it takes for you to retain what you just did, just keep it within your repertoire and have that in the back of your long list of activities that you can do, a whole bunch of drills that you can do to help improve that mechanic without referring to a certain body part.